Hey everybody, hope you guys are all having a great day. Decided to take a little time today and review this knife that I have here. So this, you've probably seen it before, it's nothing new, but the James brand Carter. It's kind of a interesting knife and a little bit polarizing. I've seen in other reviews and comments that people have made. So I'm not going to try to focus on the negative, but let's kind of look and see what we got with this thing. So let's see. So we see it's kind of a nice charcoal black kind of finish. Has their James brand logo there, and then this shape, I guess, that they use as the James brand logo in lieu of their name. Let's see, so this is the Carter, and this is got stainless steel. It has OD green micarta and has the straight drop point blade on it. Let's see. Designed in Portland, Oregon, USA, made in Yangjing, China. I'm sure I'm butchering that city in China. Let's see, first cut. Oh, they'll tell me what to do box. We'll see, maybe. Okay, so you can see there's a little bit of color popping out here. Maybe we pull on this. Oh, okay, maybe we just push. Yeah, then we kind of pull. You can see there's this cardboard outer case, and then we've got this layered wood, kind of feels balsa-ish. Pull this guy out. Okay, I kind of see why they're telling me to cut that, because there's instructions and mission statements and things on the inside of the box, but I'm not going to cut that. Okay, so looks like right off the bat we're getting a sheath. Feels like felt. It's pretty thick. I mean, it's good quality felt-ish material. That's what I'm going to say when I really don't know the answer. I'm going to say ish at the end. So felt-ish, that's a thing, right? So you can see it's stitched. That's nice, and it has their little design logo here. Okay, just seeing there's nothing in there. You know, the little bags come with the Benchmades and things like that. I personally have never ever used one. You know, it's going to go in my pocket, or it's going to go in one of my holding cases, so like a tray. But that's nice that they include that. All right, so here's the star of the show. So you can see that they've, you know, they've put some thought into the design, you know, of the packaging. It's not just a box with a knife thrown in it. That's pretty nice. So little holder, and then we've got the knife in this nice wooden, I don't know what you would call this exactly, but like this wooden shell that they've routed out. It's pretty nice. So let's see. Okay, so the micarta looks really nice. It kind of has it's almost like you can see wood grain, or maybe like a snake pattern almost, with the kind of variation, since it's got some light and some dark in it. Hopefully the camera's picking some of that up. It's got, you can see it kind of alternates between, you know, highly polished hardware and some hardware that's, you know, a little more muted. Pretty nice though. You see this thumb disc is what they call it. So a thumb disc instead of a thumb stud. You can see this is an axis lock style knife. I'm not sure what they're calling it, but it's, you know, basically their rendition of the axis lock. And then we have the belt clip here, which is highly polished with their logo probably lasered on there. So their script logo is right there on the blade. Looks like the same kind of micarta used for the back spacer here. See that they've greased up the stop bar there, so that's nice. Okay. Oh, it's like this. They have felt in the bottom, you can see. I don't know if that's glued in there. Let's see. No, it's not. It's just laid in there. So it's nice. They've got a cutout so that it'll fit in there. Oh, and you can see there's even a recess there for the belt clip. That's a nice touch. Okay, so it'll kind of sit flat there. But that's nice. So that just sits in there. Okay. That's pretty sweet. Okay, and then we've got a little accessory pocket here. That's a little guy. And this, so this is if you would rather not have, get this guy out the way. If you'd rather not have the belt clip, then you can, you know, undo these two screws right here, get that out of there, and then the belt clip comes out of the back, and you can put this little guy in there, and then it will stick out. You know, that part will be covered up, and just that hole will be out. So you could put a lanyard in there. So if you know, if you're somebody that likes to have a paracord or a lanyard, little tail with beads and stuff on the end of your knife, I'm looking at you, Best Damn EDC, then you could use it that way instead of having the belt clip if you'd rather have it. But if you do that, then obviously you're not gonna have the belt clip, so you just have this in a lanyard, so really just be floating in your pocket. There is a hole here, but if you decided to put your paracord or lanyard on this, it would kind of hang down in a weird way. It wouldn't, you know, form as like a tail like it would normally do on the backside of, like, you know, a bug out or one of those kinds of knives that has a hole in the back. So you got to kind of take that in consideration, I guess, if you're going to use the lanyard attachment. So let's see. So let's talk about it for a minute. So this is made by the James brand. So they're based in Portland, Oregon. Seems like a lot of knife manufacturing going on in Portland. So it's designed in Portland and made in China. So there's about 9 that I could count, 9 variations of this knife. You know, between different kinds of, you know, there's Damascus option on the blade. There's, you know, you can get black, different material handles, but basically the 2 colors are going to be this micarta, this OD green micarta, and a black. Now the black, should be noted, I guess, that the thumb disc, excuse me, on this, it's silver, but on the black versions, they come in this like electric lime green color that looks really awesome. I like the silver on here, but the lime green on here as an option might have been nice. They didn't offer it though with OD green. So this does have, let's pop this guy out. So this is a VG10 blade. So micarta on the scales, VG10 steel. It is ambidextrous, so you can see that there's some spacer covers or the back sides of the screws for the pocket clip. So that's nice because, you know, if you're lefty, you could take these off and you could swap your pocket clip over on the other side. So that's nice. And, you know, since it's an Axis style locking mechanism deployment, you can do it from either side, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. So that's nice. Has the lanyard, and of course, you know, the lanyard's going to be, you know, good for righty or lefty. It's using phosphor bronze washers on this guy, so it does have smooth action. And then the thumb disc, of course, we talked about that. So some dimensions here. So we've got, that's definitely not the scale here. But you can see, so this guy, overall length, 7.8 inches. The blade is right at 3.3 inches. The handle is at 4.4 inches. And it comes in weighing about 3.3 ounces. The clip and hardware are all stainless steel. They don't really list the kind of steel, just that it's stainless. So overall, nice specs. And, you know, let me get my grubby little prints off this thing. Overall, good looking knife. I mean, it's a handsome knife. It has a good classic shape to it. The handle is nice. It's not too long. It's not too short. In the hand, it feels good. I would say I probably have medium to large hands. They're not huge, but they're not tiny. And in gripping this guy, you know, it's still kind of down past my pinky a little bit, so my pinky gets full purchase on the end here, so it does have a good size to it. I would say perfect EDC size. In deployment, I would say the thumb disc takes a little bit of getting used to. It's not quite as intuitive as a thumb stud is. You know, obviously that's really prevalent, but I can see where, you know, the James brand is trying something different, right? So they're, I think, trying to raise the bar a little bit on some of the aesthetics and the design. And I can appreciate that, trying to find something new, because obviously this is different, right? You're screwing, you're you know, milling out, you know, this kind of, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that kind of step design right there, where it is a disc, but it, you know, steps down. So they're, you know, milling that out, and then obviously milling a screw hole in there, and then screwing this down into that. So that's obviously something different. You know, normally you'd see the thumb stud in the face of the blade. So it is neat, and something different. In practical use, though, it kind of feels a little bit to me like, you know, maybe a Sebenza or something like that. Whereas, you know, with a thumb stud knife, you really just get a nice flick on it. I find on this guy, the flicking is a little less intuitive. You can easily deploy it. It has smooth action. You know, it's not that it's difficult or hard. It's just that it has, you can feel when you're opening this, that in the design on the back of the blade, that there's like a stop as it rounds over. Right there, you can kind of feel it when it comes to that midway stop, you know, on its own, and then all the way through. So when you're opening it, you can feel when it gets to that secondary stop position that it makes it a little difficult for your follow through to get it all the way open. So it's not super smooth in that regard. Maybe, yeah, with some practice and flicking it and kind of, you know, slinging it out at the same time. Yeah, maybe a little practice I could get it. It's not too bad. There we go. Okay, it's starting to feel a little bit better. So you definitely have to get some wrist movement, some practice with this kind of, this different thumb stud. But, you know, obviously it's not a thumb stud, sorry, the thumb disc. So, you know, you do need to spend some time with it. Like any kind of tool, you need to get to know it and, you know, feel how it's made and get a feel for how it functions. Let's see, got some writing on here. 2011-0031 VG10. So to tell us that it is VG10 steel. So, you know, I guess it depends on, you know, how you feel about steels and how much of a steel snob you might be. I do have knives that have, you know, better steel, and I have knives that have steel that, you know, aren't considered quite as nice. You know, this isn't the worst and it isn't the best, but I would say, you know, this price point, and I will say currently these are run right around $159. You might find them on sale, you know, on different sites. I'll say that's probably about what I paid for it, right around 160 or so. That it's, you know, it's not in bad company. I don't think it's outrageously expensive for what you get. You know, it's definitely one of those things where if you were looking for the roughest, toughest, you know, knife on the block for the lowest possible price, this probably isn't it, you know? But I will say that it is a really good looking knife design-wise. You know, if anybody were asking my opinion, which nobody has, but like most people, I'll give it anyway. This belt clip really kind of is annoying. If you look at it, I'm gonna close this guy up real quick. If you look at it, look how far out it comes out of the back and then over and then in. There's a lot of play in there, and I haven't carried it yet, so I don't know, you know, but it looks like that might be something that might move around a little bit. Maybe Yeah, this guy seems like he's fairly tight, so maybe not. Just strange that you would use that when, so many other companies have, a flush looking belt clip. And I get, being different, but, you know, I think sometimes being different just for the sake of being different isn't always the best plan. But it's a small gripe. I mean, it's a belt clip, right? At the end of the day, if it keeps it in my pocket, and it doesn't, rip a hole in my jeans, then, I'm sure this is fine. Just if I were looking at it, just because everything else, it also really stands out because of how highly polished it is. Yeah, you're picking that up on the video. It's pretty shiny. So it's definitely eye-catching, which, I guess it's not a bad thing. I don't know. Maybe one of these days. It kind of is a challenge a little bit. It also has that sound when there's a sound whenever it really connects when you flick open a knife. I think that's one of the reasons I like Benchmade knives so much. When you really flick them out, it lets you know that you're hitting that stop bar. That's an okay sound to it. Again, not the best, not the worst. Kind of middle of the road. I think that's kind of where I am with this. I think this is a good knife. I really like the design, the aesthetics. If you look at, the width of the steel and the blade, comparatively, the proportions and the ratios for this knife I really like. It definitely has that feel and look that's nice. I will say, man, that pocket clip, it's there when you're holding it. I mean, it doesn't hurt or anything, but, if you're using it for a long time, you'd probably start to feel it down the back of your palm. But I would say that's a good knife, Can you get a better value somewhere else? Probably. I think in this instance, you're really paying for a lot of aesthetics. And it is a really good looking knife. And it is using a, to the best of my knowledge, a proprietary deployment device here. I haven't seen this on any other knives. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if, it looks, I'm under the impression that this is the James brand unique deployment here on this thumb disc. I could be wrong though. I just never have seen it on another knife. It definitely takes a little getting used to, but it feels a little, the more time I spend with it, the more fluid it becomes. So, that could probably be, and then, like I say, it's different, they haven't gone the traditional route. It probably would have been a lot easier and less expensive to just put a thumb stud on there. You could, do that probably relatively cheaply. So I do appreciate, the rethinking that goes into that and the time and consideration and money it takes to do something like that, something that's out of the box and a little bit different. So I would say I do like this knife, man. I really like the way it looks. I mean, it's just a nice looking knife. And that's, something that, probably like most consumers, when I'm looking at it, the first thing you're looking at is, does it look nice? Does it look good? Does it look cool, right? Is that something that I would want to use? If I'm, out somewhere and, I don't know, and I have to use it for something, not emergency, because I don't care what it looks like an emergency, I guess. But, if I'm going to cut something or I'm helping somebody out, I don't want to pull out something that's, junky looking or, something that looks like it's been drugged behind it, by a truck or something, and it's rusty and whatever, This is definitely something that, it could kind of be the best of both, it kind of could be a gentleman's knife, right? Because it does have a nice aesthetic to it. But also something that could get some work done. See what this looks like out of the box. Is it super sharp? It's pretty sharp. Yeah. Well, that was probably just me. Yeah, that's pretty sharp. I would say it's going to get the job done for you. would say that, you know, can you get something nicer for the same money? I guess it depends, right? Because, you know, you're in the kind of, you're in the range of a lot of other knives, and I think that's kind of where everyone starts to break down with this knife. Is it does look nice, it's a good looking knife, but then when you start looking at, you know, what else can I get for that money, and, you know, just in way of a comparison size wise, you know, and also in that same price range, we can kind of look at some other things. So one, man, I just love the way that sounds. That is so satisfying when you open up a Benchmade. So this is, clean these blades off, man. This is my Mini Osborne that I recently posted a video where I got the green anodizing off the aluminum scales, and then engraved it. So you can see size-wise, these are near identical in size. You know, then we've also, and you know, Mini Osborne, a little more expensive than the James brand. Then we've also got, man, just that satisfying sound when you open it. So Benchmade bug out. So we'll put this guy on top. You can see the bug out's a little bit bigger, right? So the James brand Carter is smaller, more in the way of a mini bug out size knife, you know, which I just happen to have. So here's another one. So here's Stormtrooper. And you can see, so these are very similar in size, all three of these. Bug out's a little bit bigger. And, you know, these within the same price of each other. And then the last size comparison, we've got my Spyderco Delica 4, and this one a little bit bigger, right? Because it's almost the same size as the Benchmade there. And this one, you know, has VG10 steel. The bug outs here, all of these are all going to be S30. Yeah, S30. And VG tone here. So, you know, price wise, you know, this is really the competition for this knife, right? But when you look at it, when you do see the lines of it, how it's designed, it does kind of stand out, right? Micarta scales. I have Micarta scales they're almost the same color as this. Titanium makes some really nice Micarta, OD green Micarta scales for the Mini Osborne that I also have. They make it look great, but you can see that you know, both of these blades are kind of similar, right, in their shape and style. If this one, you know, if the bug out was just slightly smaller, if it cut off, but proportion-wise, you can see that it is well designed. Fit and finish are really nice on this knife, but I think it probably suffers from being in such, you know, stiff competition. And I don't know a lot about the James brand. You know, you can look and see they were, you know, started in 2012. And, you know, maybe not having the same kind of, you know, exposure or notoriety or sales volume as like, you know, a Benchmade, right? It makes it hard to be, you know, price competitive with the same kind of materials. You know, the bug out probably is one of the best selling pocket knives in history. So it'd be tough to meet that kind of price. Man, you'd think I'd never clean these knives. I mean, I do sometimes, okay? Cut me some slack. But I would say, you know, in this company, that the James brand is a good knife, and I think it is worth the money. You know, you could argue that you can get something else, but for me, you know, in my situation, I already have a bug out, right? I have more than one, which a lot of people do. So, you know, when you have these, it's nice to have something a little bit different, right? And I think that's where the James brand Carter succeeds, is being different, because yeah, you could get a bug out for the same money, maybe a couple bucks less, but it's not the same as this knife, you know. But once you do have a bug out, you could try this knife out and see if you like it. And I would think that if you like the bug out, you know, if these knives here are knives that you like, that I think you would like the James brand Carter. And I'm curious to see, what that looks like 6 months from now. Do I still feel the same? And only time will tell. But I will say that aesthetically, the James brand knows what they're doing, because it is a handsome knife. I said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll definitely stand by that. Now, you can say all you want about types of steel and, different options and things like that, but it's a good looking knife. And something that I am very curious about carrying and seeing how it stands up to everyday life. If you have any questions or things that I didn't cover, feel free to drop a comment. A like and a subscribe would go a long way. It really help out. And I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to my view on this really nice knife. And I hope you guys are still having a great day, and I'll see you later.